Check, check, check. Check, check, check.
Okay, we can hear you now, or I can.
Damn. All right. Well, let me do this again. Good morning, everybody. So, congratulations for showing up on time. Congratulations for showing up for your own future and for your children, for your grandchildren. The decisions you make today are going to play out. All the time I spent on the weekends practicing my craft is what allows me to trade effortlessly today. And so there's going to be a day, a year and a half from now, where you look back and you're like, damn, I'm so glad I showed up and just did that hard work early so I don't have to struggle later. So that's what I want everyone to understand. Number one, if you're young or you're new to trading, or well, basically if you're young or you're new to trading, put in the most amount of work that you can early so you don't have to struggle later on. Most people want to enjoy their 20s or whatever the fuck it is. Right? They'll be like, bro, this is the highlight of my life. This is my peak years. I'm not just gonna spend it working, working, working. And then they end up in their 40s and 50s and 60s trying to make up for that lost time. What I want from all of you, and this is not to discourage anybody that's deeper in their journey or older, because there is something to say for someone who has gone through all of that and has now decided to either reinvent themselves or committed themselves to the next phase of their life. So I applaud all of you for making that change, but I want the young folks to understand, put in the work early so you don't have to struggle later. And the people that tell you just enjoy your youth or whatever it might be, maybe they did not get the results that they wanted, and maybe they're just speaking to you from their own experience. From my experience, the people that put in work in their 20s and their 30s, they get to enjoy the 40s, 50s, 60s. These are the peak years of your life. I don't want, we'll talk about this. We'll talk about this later. The premise of today's call, I'm going to keep it short and sweet, is to talk about session times, the importance of trading only in high volume sessions, which is one of the 10 rules for trading NAS100 that I go through in the NAS100 masterclass. If this is your first Saturday call, welcome. If it's not your first one, welcome back. My name is Roy Dunya. I'm a full-time day trader. I'm the co-founder of Chart Addicts, which is an educational platform for traders that specializes in personal one-on-one coaching. What we're going to cover has a few nuances, and so if you guys want to really learn something, make sure to go grab something to take notes with. If you're just watching this for entertainment, no entertainment today. I'm not here to roast anybody. I'm not here to call anybody out. I am here to teach and then go about my day. Please go grab something to take notes with, and then we'll get right into it. Put something in the chat when you guys have that notebook ready, and we're ready to rock and roll here. Because if you're not taking notes, there's really no reason to be on here. This is not going to be that entertaining, and this is going to be strictly to help the folks that are always saying that there's no free value out there. This is going to be worth more than what most people are teaching in a course, in a paid course. And so I really want you guys to take something away. Make sure to grab something to take notes with, and then come back, drop something in the chat when you're ready. Come on, come on, come on. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Get off my feet.
Yeah. 10 days ago, I was sick with like the flu or something. Today, I'm just sick of this weather, right? Still sick, just a different kind of sick. I had the craziest workout of all time. When you take a 10 days or 11-day break from the gym and you go back and get that first workout in, there's nothing in the world that can beat that feeling. Absolutely incredible. Tony, good morning. Quadri, good morning. Autobahn, let's get it. Dabo, Roger, Wisely, Taylor, DJ Sam Cuts. Okay, we got like 45 people on here and only 4 people are ready. Yo, you two, I'm not playing with you guys today. You guys want this stream or you don't want this stream. If you don't want this stream, I'll turn it off and I'll do it for the private members. If you guys want to be on here, put something in the chat. Let's get this show on the road. Why are we acting like this is some fucking like this is all rocket science? Put something in the chat if you've grabbed something to take notes with and you're ready. If I don't see the messages, I'm turning off the stream. Me and the guys from the Chart Addicts VIP, we're just gonna spend some time doing this ourselves. Well, it's just Edward saying one. It's just Edward commenting. It looks like a lot, but it's the same person. All right, here's what we're gonna do. This counts as a stream today. We're hitting 100 days in a row. You guys saw that I showed up. I just want to see you guys show up too. I'm about 2 seconds away from ending the stream. Okay, now there we go. Jesus Christ. Guys, don't make me turn into a dickhead just to get a fucking response. Because it just makes me look bad. It makes me look like the bad guy. And to be honest, I mean, regardless, I don't give a fuck, but this is for you. You're clearly about to see that I know this information. I'm not here to fucking hear my voice. So if you don't want this stream, just let me know. I can save myself a whole fucking morning. Okay, we're ready. Let's go. We're talking about session timing today, which means everybody understands the four basic sessions. There's Australia, there's Tokyo, there's New York, and there's London. And they understand there's low volume and then there's high volume, but some people don't really understand, which is why they continue to force trades during low volume sessions. So what I'm going to show you is for NASDAQ specifically, which sessions have the most volume and which sessions have the least volume. But I also want to show you that even if you take a trade in a low volume session, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You'll just have to wait until another session to start making money. So the yellow is New York. This is the session that I primarily trade because, as you can tell, it's the largest one. The blue is going to be the Tokyo session. It's Australia and Tokyo are kind of put into this whole kind of like its own session. Frankfurt is this custom thing that Frankfurt is technically it's its own session as well, but for me I put it in this in between Australia and London. There's an overlap kind of session, and I put that as my Frankfurt because you can't custom label it on this indicator. So I just went with whatever the standard settings were on the naming, but I just set it to my own time zones. So I have these three sessions set up, and then we have London session, which is standard, except mine doesn't start at, the traditional. Actually, this actually does start at 3 a.m., but it doesn't end at 11 a.m. the same way that the traditional London session ends. My London session is 3 in the morning until about 8 a.m. Between the end of that 8 a.m. session until right before New York, we have this little custom session. That little custom session I call pre-New York, right? Very easy to understand. Now, all that there's a bunch of different sessions, but all you have to be able to see is that if it's blue, purple, or green, it's probably a very small volume trading session. And if it's yellow, you got a lot of potential to make money. Okay? Is that clear? Can we at least get to that number one point? I don't want anyone saying I didn't learn anything from today's stream. This is the easiest concept to understand and the single most important. If you don't take away shit from this whole call, at least understand this one. Do you guys understand that New York session has the most volume? Put something in the chat if we're clear on this. A lot of people say, yeah, we're clear. 2 weeks later, they're trading some fucking random session, and I have to be in the chat like a dickhead again, calling people out. And now I look like a dickhead when you guys just don't want to write it down. Out of the 50 people that are on this stream, I guarantee you 5 people wrote it down. And out of the 5 people that wrote it down, 3 are going to stick to it. And I don't want this shit to be true. That's why I'm going to treat you guys with that level of accountability, because I think that that's what's missing here. So people will just throw out information. Some people write it down like, oh, okay, good. 3 years into trading, I'm coaching somebody. They don't fucking know how to find a trend. How is this possible? I'll tell you how. It's because people are doing the thing in class where you're not like actually writing it down to understand. You're just sort of like, it's like womp, 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 and you're just writing down the womps. That's not how this shit goes. If you don't understand something, ask. If you get it, put something in the chat. Let's get it. What's that? Queens stand up. Shout out to Queens. Shout out to Brooklyn. Fucking everybody but Staten Island. I'm about to get in trouble today. All right. I got robbed in Staten Island. Well, I used to resell shoes, right? I went up there. I was young. I went up there with some cash. I got fucking robbed. They kicked me out that state. I was like, bro, if you guys see why I hate New York, Atlanta, a bunch of other places, now you guys know why. Okay. So let's actually measure this real quick. People are like, well, Roy, you can still make money in these sessions. I've made money in those sessions. My old mentor used to demo trade that session, right? Demo trade. So let's talk about how to actually measure volume. How do you know when the markets are getting more volatile or less volatile? When I tell you guys, oh, this is going to be a great week to trade, or guys, I actually don't see a lot of moves this week, things are slow. Slow, fast, bullish, bearish, these things have dictionary definitions. But again, if you're not taking notes and really, really learning this stuff, you're going to think it's subjective. Meaning like, yeah, it kind of looks bearish. Or I think, or I feel like it's not going to be a bad week. If you say I feel at any fucking point in trading, just walk away from the screen. I feel like it can keep going. I feel like feelings do not have zero. This is for your notes. Feelings have zero to do with trading. How you feel has absolutely nothing to do with trading ever. How you feel probably has nothing to do with anything ever. When was the last time you guys were like, "Oh, I feel like this shouldn't happen"? When was the last time that was actually a rational thing to say? Said I hate Staten Island, never went back. Yeah, me and you both. Okay, so objectively, you can write down the definition of low volume is that when the range of pips, when the market goes from the low of the range to the high of the range, is getting smaller. And then in a market that's getting more volatile or it's expanding, a market has a bigger range. So let's measure that. From top to bottom in this Australian session is 33 points. Okay? The next one, 95 points, 22 points, 22, 60. I'm not going to do all of them. I'm just going to do enough for you guys to see this. 40, 22. There's a lot of 22s. You got a pretty good chance of this thing going anywhere between 20 to 90 points, with the average being on the low end, because most of them were 20s. You had a couple 30s, 160 and 190, which kind of dragged it up. So really the average amount of pips the average range of that Australia session is going to be about 40 points. Okay, so the reason this is important is a lot of people want to hold a 1-to-1 or a 1-to-2 trade, but you don't understand that if you're risking 40 points and the whole range is 40 points, you're going to have to hold this thing from the very, very top to the very, very bottom to make money. And if you guys can see, the market actually creates the range, but then consolidates inside the range. It doesn't even hit the top and bottom again. Over here, it'll just go straight from one to the other. Over here, you may have been able to trade inside the range, but it's extremely slow. You're waiting 4 or 5 hours for 20 points. You guys understand? And so let's say that you wanted to take a short position in Australia. If you took the short position here, you'd be able to, but this is, I'm going to measure it with, so let's say I took the short here until it actually dropped 13 hours. So if you're one of these people that enters in a low volume session and is just staring at your phone, candle by candle, it's not moving how fast you want it to, you don't understand why. 13 hours you're going to have to wait if you actually want to see the trade play out. So if you enter in low volume sessions, it's not going to play out until after the low volume session. Make sense? It's really, really simple stuff. The inability for people to be patient, Jeffner, please, man, come on. Every day, guys, just check the bottom of the screen when you hop on. And I know that we're supposed to fix the settings or whatever, but let's have some, I don't know. Then this is what? Fucking lost track. Okay, yes, volume sessions, entering 13 hours, impatience. Impatience is the leading cause of traders getting out of good trades. So because you enter a trade and you're sitting here watching pip by pip, eventually, if you're watching point by point, it's going to exhaust you. You're going to want to get off. You'll just close the screen or make a bad decision. But usually it's just like close out and then the trade plays in your favor. You check back later, you get very frustrated, you see it moving, and then that's where the trading errors start, chasing the market or trying to find random zones on the smaller time frames. So to avoid that, understand and backtest how long is it going to take in these sessions for the market to play in my favor. in New York, when I take these trades, how long should I expect to wait? Okay, sometimes it's an hour, but sometimes it's 4 hours. So if you're an hour into a trade in London session or in New York session, the high volume ones, and it hasn't played out for you, why the fuck would you close? The market has not played out for you yet. It doesn't mean it hasn't played out. And so I think that the most important thing for patience, everyone asks me how to work on mindset. Before you guys even think about psychology or mindset in trading, kick that shit out, okay? That should not belong in a beginner's course. Okay, or if it does, it should belong somewhere in the end or as a way to build a system so that you don't go through any of those problems. But psychology doesn't play in until you have some of those issues where you continue to enter over and over again. It's a pattern where you enter, you're just getting more impatient with each trade that you put on. And you're just waiting for it. You're watching. Your exhaustion level just starts to build. You hit the fuck it. You either enter a random trade or you hop off too soon. So that's like 90% of traders. Say, well, why is Roy just harping on just waiting for the trade? Like, yeah, we know we should wait for the trade. No. If traders knew to fucking wait for the trade, we wouldn't have a 90% losing rate in Forex. I need people to I need people to stop telling me that we know this stuff or this stuff is basic. If it's basic, show me the results. Show me the trading profits if it's so easy. Everyone's like, Roy, this is just supply and demand. Roy, this is just how to find a trend. And then I'll get on coaching calls with people for after 3, 4, 5 years of trading. Find what trend is this? Well, it could be and it might be. Guys, this is real. This is very, very real. All right, throw something in the chat if we're still on the same page and give me one big takeaway so far. Give me one big takeaway. Why am I asking for feedback? Is because if we're not taking a second, because I know I speak very quickly and I have a lot to say, but if we don't stop and actually take away the main point of what I just said, it kind of just seems like I'm just kind of just saying whatever. If we actually sit down and say, what did Roy just say? I only said 3 things. I said, don't trade in low volume sessions. If you choose to trade in low volume sessions, understand that it's not going to play out in that session. It's going to play out some other time. So be more patient. And that impatience is what's killing most traders. And so if you backtest enough and you have a reasonable expectation of how long to wait for these trades, you won't fall into these mindset traps. You won't fall into this psychological need to be in a trade and to rush a trade. You guys see how easy it is to kind of stay on that path and really, really take something away from this? But if we're not doing that, again, no learning is getting done. Put something in the chat that you guys have taken away so far. Malik Moore says, LOL. Look, Atlanta and New York, fuck both of them. Actually, you know what? New York has had great hospitality last time I was there. Shout out to Lou. Shout out to La Vibra in New York City and downtown, the newest bar, hottest thing on the scene. So New York, great food. I love the people there. I love people yelling. I'm Lebanese, so this is how we live, right? Everybody's driving perfectly fine. Nobody cuts you off. You might just open your window, curse somebody out next to you. But what the fuck are you doing driving in between the lines, right? Just this is what we do. And so I love being in New York a little bit, but the whole fucking city needs some help. Atlanta, bro, we should just give Georgia back to the French. We just give the whole fucking territory, just give the whole thing back. Native Americans, you guys get the whole state. I'm sorry, we wronged you. Take it back. Take it back. Taking account for the low volume sessions and the range it provides to catch the move on the session is likely to provide. Jeffner, well done. You just redeemed yourself just like that. All right, Carlos, everyone just saying ready. Okay. Chart Addicts members, applies to you too. Some of you guys need this more than anybody else. What was the biggest takeaway so far? See, Jeffner did it. You guys think that because I called him out and he redeemed himself that you guys don't have to answer? This is wild. Y'all got me out here roasting the YouTube chat and you guys are out here making me look bad. Trade during sessions that provide volume, be patient, and give your trade time to play out. DJ Sam Cuts, that's the most important one. Give it time to play out. Most of you guys have worked hard enough to find great trades. Why don't you let it play out? Good morning. And half of people listen, other half have to learn the hard way. Or they don't. Most people just get told, it's okay if you guys don't get this down on the first try. And that's why they go make mistakes. On this stream, it's not okay. It is not acceptable for you to go and just go make mistakes and shit. I'm going to light you up if you go do anything remotely stupid like that. Now you see Mario with that kind of accountability. Are you gonna go do some dumb shit? No. Will other people do some dumb shit? Probably not. Guys, it's all about accountability. If I told you I don't give a fuck about your trading results, fuck all of you, whatever, whatever, then yeah, I mean, you're gonna go and maybe mess up and nobody cares anyways, so I'll just mess up the account. If I told you, like I tell my coaching students, and like I'm half joking, but some part of me just, some part of, I believe that I'm telling the truth, that I will fly out and I'll beat them up if they break that rule again, right? I need them to see me like the boogeyman, because when you're off your game and you're kind of too fixated or monomaniacally focused on something, nothing can really tear. It's like a kid in a video game. You're like, hey, come on, and you just don't snap out of it. That's why I'm so against video games. But this, like with trading, when you're in that state of mind, I want my voice to come in. I want you guys to hear my voice saying you're a fucking idiot. Get off the chart. Because that will hopefully pull you away long enough for you to come back down to earth and realize that you do not want to be making mistakes in your trading account. And hopefully you'll make a better decision because it's that important. Fluidity FX had questioned, do you believe that the market makes a decisive move around a specific time per day? Of course. Guys, there's a rhythm and yo, I'm writing this shit down. There's an algo rhythm to the way that the markets work. Fuck, that'd be a great name. Oh my God. Oh my God. Pretend like I don't hear that one. But no, there is a real rhythm and there's an algorithmic procedure to how volume is distributed during the day. I have these 15, 30-minute pockets mapped out in New York session where volume is released. So the way that this works is that the NASDAQ is an electronically controlled exchange, right? As most of them are. When all of this money is flowing into the NASDAQ and people are putting in all these orders, they can't just send the orders one by one. They have to batch orders together. And so what they do is, like, let's say somebody has 100 million shares or $100 million worth of shares of SPY, which is like SPX, it's the S&P 500 index, and they want to sell them. If there's nobody on the other side to buy $100 million of SPY, what are they going to do? So what they do is they take they aggregate a bunch of buy orders that equal 100 M's and they batch them together. And so how they do it is they kind of like have this pool, and then it's like it's a queue, like a line. And so they kind of batch the orders first in, first out. But if they need big volume, they exchange itself might trade against someone's position. They might be your counterparty, or they'll just be able to electronically batch even more orders into that queue. Either way, they do it at certain times to keep stability in the markets. The stock markets in America are the backbone of everybody's pension and 401k and retirement assets, as well as every central bank's balance sheet involves a lot of American stocks, as well as the government itself buying securities in the open market, as well as banks owning securities, and as well as companies buying back stock. This is it is the backbone of the financial economy, or mostly the macro economy. People will be like, well, Roy, what about bonds? We're not talking about bonds. We're talking about stocks. So for stocks specifically, 15 to 30-minute sessions, these pools of liquidity happen, these bumps throughout New York. I've identified as many of them as I could. When you guys see me trade my custom session from 10:20 to 11:20, it's not for random. It's not the biggest volume push in New York either. I don't trade the biggest volume push in New York because I don't need to. I want the one that's the most consistent, so it happens every day. I want the one that is the most easy to find, and I want the one that happens the quickest because I'm not trying to be on the charts overstaying my welcome either, which is why I try to trade during New York within this 1 hour session. Sometimes the market cycles, as is done in December, it has not behaved in the same session timings, but for the rest of the year, it will. Cool. Now, what are those session times? If you guys are in the NAS100 masterclass, we're doing a follow-up class on Monday. So everybody who has taken the NAS100 class this whole year, we're doing kind of like a token of our appreciation to end the year. It's a free review session. And I'll be going through some more detail about the exact times, and I'll give you guys a cheat code sheet with all those times in it and the pulses that the market makes. Okay? Oh, my boy's from Lebanon. My boy got the Illmatic in his name from Lebanon. Let's go. But Lebanese people are so funny. Lebanese people love 90s and early 2000s rappers. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, if Eminem used to come to Lebanon like once a year, but a whole country would show up. Every time Akon, 50 Cent, Snoop Dogg, and Eminem, Dr. Dre had Lebanon on lock, right? My boy got the Illmatic right now in his name. This is hilarious. I like how you broke down the size of the ranges and why it applies to rules number 4. Autobahn, wait till you see what I do on Monday. I really got some heat for the NASDAQ class, folks. Okay. Patience pays and don't fall for the fake outs during low volume. Tony, good work. My biggest losses, I cut early. No, if you cut a trade early, then it's not really a big loss, is it? Unless you're talking about you took a big loss and then it went your way. In which case, own up to the decisions that we make, people. Even if you make money, Roy will get on you if you break the rule. Brand, I've never heard anything more accurate. I don't care about the making the money part because you're gonna make money if you have a solid set of rules that you've back tested. That's all trading is. There is risk and reward, and there is win rate. And if you can find a strategy that has a win rate that's positive, it's a positive expectancy system, and you have a risk and reward strategy to take profits out of the market on a consistent basis, you're gonna make money. Now, what happens when you show up and you're like, oh, I missed the trade, let me jump in late? Now you're crushing your risk and reward. Now, what happens if you're like, oh, let me just take 2 extra trades even though I'm supposed to be done? Now your win rate is suffering. And so all these little mistakes that people are just like, oh, what's the big deal? Let me just let it pass. That's what crushes accounts. It's not like you held it for 5 extra points or you missed it by 2 points. It's not the incremental decisions that ruin your account, right? It's the recklessness. You got me? Even if you make money, yeah, breaking the rules. The way that I built my rules are these are the things that I identified. Because here's a question you can ask for yourself, which is, what am I doing that's stopping me from being successful at trading? Now you have to be really honest with yourself because most traders are misdiagnosing what they're doing wrong. Now, if I'm trying to get in shape, I'm not working out, I'm not eating healthy, and I sit my ass on a couch all day. Now imagine if I sit on the edge of that couch and I ask myself, what am I doing that is causing this to happen? And imagine I misdiagnose myself. I say, oh, it's because of my genetics. Oh, it's because of my upbringing. Oh, it's because of whatever. Just misdiagnosing what's actually wrong. What's wrong is the lack of exercise, so a sedentary lifestyle, and then a proper diet that will basically, you have to be at a deficit. So you're eating too much. You're at a surplus in calories. So you need to be in a caloric deficit. That's your win rate and your risk and reward. Everyone is so focused on, oh, but should I buy this brand of string beans or this brand of string beans? But this one is this free and this free, and gluten this and gluten that, and this indicator and that indicator. And the win rate and the risk and reward is all that fucking matters. Now, the quality of the win rate and the quality of the risk and reward is important. You can't just eat whatever you want as long as you're eating low calories. Technically, you can if you want to lose weight, but your organs are going to suffer. Technically, you can make money with kind of like cheating yourself, but kind of like just pulling profits like real quick and whatnot. But it's not going to be good for you over time because as your account grows, some strategies are not scalable with big money. So what I want you guys to understand is that the money that you're trading with now is not your goal. Don't think of your goals in terms of this 3 month, 6 month BS. Okay, let me give you an example. If you trade for 3 to 5 years, you go to an investor and they give you a $10 million account to trade, which for some people seems like a lot of money. But if you're talking about a traditional hedge fund that has 2.8 billion under management, 2.8 billion under management means $10 million is the equivalent of if you had 2,800 or 20, let's say if you have 28,000 in your bank account, it's the equivalent of, is it $10 or $100? Give me a second. I'm gonna do some math. 1 0, 2 zeros, so 2 zeros away. So we do 28,000. Be 100. So if you had $28,000 in your bank account, it'd be the equivalent of giving somebody $100 of your money to trade for you. So these hedge funds and these institutional firms, they have big fucking money. And 2.8 billion is not a large hedge fund either. And so the $10 million trading account, if you make 10% gains, let's say it takes you 2 months, okay? 2 months, you're up 10%, or 3 months. Let's not even put a deadline on it. That's $1 million. Let's say that they have a 70-30 split or a 50-50 split. Now you keep $500,000. Most people in their entire life, for whatever job they have at work, will never, ever, 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 ever see $500,000 in cash at one time. They may make a cumulative $500,000 over a few years. They might gross $500,000 in a year or 2 years or 3 years. But getting it all at one time and having it sitting in one place, most people will not reach that level until retirement. So, how long would you work to build a skill set that you can go and manage this kind of money? When I first found out about trading and I learned about this, I told myself I was going to do this for however long it took until I got it. Because I don't give a shit if I'm 40 years old, I'll still take the $1 million in profit. And all I have to do is, let's say it takes me 10 more years to, I mean, at this point, guys, I've gotten to a point where I understand my system. But I was telling myself, even if it took me 10 more years to learn how to make 10% a month, it would still be worth it. Now, luckily, because there's so many great resources out today, and because I'm literally telling you to go look at your results and to go make those improvements, it should not take you 10 fucking years. How long it takes you is up to you. It's not about practice, practice, practice. It's about learn, practice. Okay? Practice. Take a lesson away. Learn. What could I do differently? Never make the same mistake twice is the easiest way to make progress. Getting a little bit better every day, not even 1% better, 0.5% better every day is the only way to make true progress. Okay? People want to reinvent themselves. Invention takes a lot of failure, people. If you guys want to become like a whole new person, you want a new thing, you're going to have to take a lot of chances, and a lot of those chances will not work out. Now, on the opposite side, incremental growth with the decisions and the habits and behaviors that you're currently doing in trading, the incremental growth, this you can do very regularly because it's numbers based. You look at the win rate, risk and reward, the time you spend in drawdown, the time you spent looking at the charts, and then every 2 weeks, you go back and look at them again, and you write them down and you track your progress. Here's my win rate, here's my risk and reward, and here's the time I spent on the charts. Why is the time you spent on the charts important? Somebody told me, Roy, bro, I'm so happy. Bro, I made $2,000 this week trading. Okay. Now, my first instinct as a coach is, wow, I'm very proud of you. That's incredible. But then I had to ask them, how much time did you spend on the charts this week? And they're like, shit, dude, don't even ask, man. It was a long week, 8 hours a day. Whoa, 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 whoa. 8 hours a day? Let's do some math. That's a 40-hour work week. Okay. Now, $2,000 for a 40-hour work week is probably still more than what a lot of people are making. And keep in mind, this is gross. This is pre-tax, pre-everything. So to wrap up this lesson, don't focus on your individual trading accounts now. The account size you're trading with now is not your future. Focus on the long-term benefits and the long-term potential that trading can bring you. The $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 you're making on a prop firm now is not going to change your life. What it will do is build your confidence. What it will do is help you start investing. What it might do is help you start paying off some debts that you have. But ideally, you should take that money and go put it into investments so it can continue to build your future for you. Most people will never have enough extra income to invest in their life. They'll always be on the paycheck to paycheck wave. So if you get that trading money in, that's how you can start to build your future by investing. But most people, they want to pay off debt, they want to spend, they want to do everything but invest. Okay. How long have I been doing this? Forex 2017. I started trading cryptocurrency on Binance in 2016. Well, actually, no, I started trading cryptos way sooner, but actual trading, which is using charts, using price quotes, trading in and out of one currency to the other, exchange rates. And that's why Forex was a little bit more familiar to me because I was already trading exchange rates between one cryptocurrency to another. Instead of trading the exchange rate of like the two currencies against each other, it was XRP versus Ethereum and just see which one is overperforming the other that day. I would sell out of the one that was in profit that day and I would move the money into the one that was losing that day. And so I was able to just build up my portfolio that way. It's a little cheat code, all right? It's not financial advice. Look into it. Basically, if Bitcoin's at 40 grand right now, that's amazing. It's so expensive. My Bitcoin portfolio is up. And then I look over at, let's imagine XRP was still at the dirt, or it was even kind of dipping down a little bit. What I would do is I would take some profits from the Bitcoin portfolio and go pump it into the XRP while it's low. Now, let's say the XRP portfolio is popping off and it's overperforming my Bitcoin portfolio. So my Bitcoin portfolio is kind of dragging along, it's kind of moving downwards, but the XRP popped off. Now I can transfer my XRPs over to Bitcoin and I can have more Bitcoin than when I started with without having to add any additional profits. You guys got me? I'm trying to break it down into 2.5% a week. Once I hit that target, I'm done for the week so I don't overtrade. Nathan, that's a good rule. But here's the thing I'm telling everybody. You want to have these parameters so you know when to stop. Okay? And this is the first thing that we do when we're building a trading plan with some of our coaching students. But also don't be so hard on that deadline, or don't be so hard on a deadline or that specific numerical value, because if you don't hit it, that's where trading errors come in. You'll start to do whatever it takes to just beat that number. So what I tell folks is prioritize number one, not losing the account. If you start a challenge, there's two ways you can approach it. I need to pass this challenge ASAP. I got to make money ASAP. I got to pass this challenge by this date. What you're doing now is you're telling me that you get to choose how fast the market moves. You're like Poseidon. You're right. You're going to sit there and just move the waves of the ocean and you're going to make it move. We don't get to choose that stuff. How do you know you're going to pass it in 10 days? What if there's 0 trades for 10 days? So when you're starting a challenge, first off, assume the worst. Assume the first 3 trades will be losers. So you're not sitting here in a rut if your first 3 trades are losers. And then the second one is understand the timeline of how long it's going to take you to get funded, which typically is going to be 30 to 60 days. Okay? So in that 30 to 60 days, it's like a marathon versus a sprint. In a sprint, the second that thing goes, the second you hear that sound, you are off to the races. A marathon, they understand they're preserving their energy for the last rounds. They know that they're running, but they're not trying to burn themselves out to beat the competition. They have to think about mile 20. They have to think about mile 25. So when you're doing these challenges, make 2 promises. Number 1 is commit to never blowing the account. That's how you actually pass. That's how, when I'm approaching challenges now, and this is the biggest mistake I made with that Everblue challenge, is I was doing it for a spectacle. I was doing it to prove a point. I was doing it to prove something as opposed to making the commitment that I've made on my live accounts. The live accounts, I told myself, win, lose, draw, whatever it takes, I'm not losing this account. Now, all of a sudden, you might have it for 6 months to a year. When Omer had his funded account for 12 months, which was one of the highest durations ever held at FTMO, I used to talk to him every day and I'd be like, bro, I was trying to understand his perspective. And the perspective was never about money. It was always about following the rules. 100% of the time. It was never about, I'm up this amount of money. I'm looking to just make 2,000 more dollars and I'll stop. It was always, always following the rules. I'm like, yo, why'd you take that extra trade, bro? Aren't you done for the week? He's like, no, I'm not done. Like, if the strategy is present, I take the trade. Rules based. Follow the rules. So build a good plan, follow it. And if you have those 2 things, you should not worry about the trading psychology. You don't want to rush the markets and expect them to give you something that's unreasonable. That's how you win. They think credit going to save them. Truth, building that foundation. Wow, huge commissions. Yes. I lost so much money over the years trading and I'm perfectly fine trading my small account till I got it. Wait, I lost so much money over the years trading. I'm perfectly fine trading my small account till I got the funded account. Okay. I'm a little confused, Alex. You also trade options and futures? No. I only trade CFDs and FX. Roy, how do you trade CFDs if you're in the United States? It's because I use prop firms. Okay. The scam broker situation has gotten worse and worse. And at this point, these guys need to get their shit together or this thing is coming down. And it's not me. I'm not out here on a frenzy, but That story writes itself. That story only ever ends one way. Everybody should stop fucking beefing on social media and get their act together ASAP because this is going to bring down the Forex space pretty badly. These guys are acting extremely immature, and a lot of people are waiting for clarity on the brokerage situation. Let me tell you guys right now, they're gone. Stop waiting for them to get their shit together. They're not paying anybody out. And the people that do get paid out, they have some special relationship with them. There's a lot of manipulation on the platforms now more than ever. The new platforms that are coming out have way too many issues and errors. They freeze in the middle of the best trading times. People are missing out on top opportunities on the streams. So for now, regulated brokers or prop firms. That's it. Stop asking me what broker I'm using. Stop asking me what broker you should use. It is regulated, Oanda, interactive brokers, Black Bull, Pepperstone, depending on the country that you're in, or FTMO. Love it. Monnier, perfect. All right, let's just summarize this real quick. We'll summarize everything that we just talked about. Number one, volume sessions exist. And as you guys saw, I didn't just use the traditional volume sessions that everybody else uses. I created my custom, like I created my own. And because of, kind of creating my own custom session, I'm able to see exactly when I should be entering. Now, if you do find a trade and if the market hits your entry opportunity, like you guys know in the NAS100 masterclass, if you've already taken it, if it hits that fib level, the entry that we typically take, and it's in New York or it's in Australia session, middle of the night, you get the alert. You can still take the trade, but don't sit up all night watching it. That ruined my life. And I know it sounds like a joke, but I literally wasted 8 months of my life. Like I would enter a trade in the off session and just watch it candle by candle. And at some point, I would get so tired, and before I slept, I'm like, "Bro, it's not gonna move." And I would close it, and I'd wake up, and it hit my take profits, or it would have hit my take profit. This happened so often, and I just did not want to admit what I was doing. I was like, I just have to stay up longer. Again, misdiagnosing the problem. Once I diagnosed it correctly, everything changed for me. Now, here's the last piece about the volume sessions. The reason I trade high volume is not because I can't make money in low volume, but because I only need a small crumb. I only need a small piece of the big move to make money. Most people, when they're talking about the ranges, or when they start to measure the ranges and they're like, oh my God, 233, right? 245. That's not how I actually see the range. How I see the range is there was this sell down, that's 50. First candle up, that's 120. So right now we're already at 170 pips of potential. I didn't even measure this right. Let me go all the way to the top right here. That's 190. Let's call it 200 plus 40, 240. We got the retracement down, which is 120. So we have 240 plus 120, 360. Plus 74, 430. And then plus 30. So 460. So 460 points of potential all the way up and down. We can do the same thing here, but it's going to be 10 points down, 5 points up, 5 points down, 5 points up, 5 points down, and it'll add up to like 40 or 50. So you only need one piece of this whole puzzle. If you just caught the short at 120, you're done. If you just caught the longs right here, you're done. That's all you need. With 50 points a week. Okay? Actually, let's go for this. I'm going to show you guys. This is the last piece, and then I'm going to take questions, and then we're done. Okay. For 100 points a week, if you're using a standard lot size, which is $10 a point, 10 times 100 is $1,000. So if you just find a strategy to catch one of these moves in New York, so again, the short position here, this was 120. This first sell-off, just the first candle, is about 85 points. You're damn near there for the whole week. If you caught this buy, that's 77. You're pretty close. And it doesn't have to be in one trade either. This is 181. Where's 100? Right here. If you just caught this much of the short, you'll be able to make 100 points. Okay. And I'm talking about for the whole week, not just one session. So let me show you how this keeps going. You do the 100 points a week at 10 lots. Now you're at 10,000. 10 lots is $100 per point. 100 times 100, it's 100 hundreds, which is 10,000. Catch 100 points with 100 lots. 100 lots equals $1,000 per point. So you go $1,000 times 100 is 100 thousands. This is in a week. Okay. So this is how I look at this is I'm trying to get so good. And you can think about it as points. You can think about it as percentages because really you want to look at trading in terms of percentages, of course. But for me, I trade very technically and I trade NAS100 only. And so I kind of have treated it like a game where if I can risk 40 to 50 points a week to make 100, I have a 1-to-2 risk and reward ratio. I'm good. I'll only be able to lose 500 here, 5,000 here, 50,000 here. Okay. But if I can't make 100 points a week consistently, net, which means after the losses, after everything is done, it's 100 points net. If I can't do that first with a small ass account, if I can't do it with a 0.01, I ain't fucking doing it with a standard. I ain't doing it with 10, and I sure as hell ain't doing it with 100. This is where it starts. Now, most people will do that. They'll get the 100 points with the 0.01, which is 10 cents. And then they make $10 and they're not happy. So they're like, okay, I don't want to focus on this. I just want to raise these numbers. And that's where they completely crush their psychology. You guys got me? Put something in the chat if you guys are good. Ready to wrap this up if you are. But very important. We covered volume sessions. We covered the importance of having a clearly defined understanding of what you're going for. And if you understand the market, if you understand your own system and how that plays in, and then of course you build your personality and maturity to be someone who is able to operate the system effectively. The results are yours. And then you can scale the results the same exact way with the same habits. Proper trading is a lifestyle. Proper trading is not a decision, it's not a choice, it's not an act, it's not a club, it's not a hobby, it's not a business like they tell you, it's not your freedom, it's a lifestyle. I train with professional fighters. There's some fighters that go in there, like even me, I'm not training for anything competitive right now. I really got to use my brain to push the Forex industry forward. There's a lot of people with brain damage already in the Forex space, and I ain't about to add myself to the list. All right. I'm trying to be here just long enough to help as many traders as I can. But the difference between an amateur and a professional is the professional has made this commitment a lifestyle. When they leave that gym, they're still that fighter. Right now, they are also the father. They're also the husband. They're also the neighbor. They're also, helping that lady across the street. But they are the fighter. They have embodied the identity. Why? Because when they go out to lunch with the boys and everyone wants to have a drink, they're going to opt out. I mean, depending on if they have a fight coming up or not. But they'll say no. Because it's not like when I go out to drink with the boys or just go hang out with the boys, I don't drink. Right? If it's a weekend, I might, but now the weekends are so busy for us that I can't even afford to. During the week, if I'm hanging out with my friends, I can't drink with them because I know it's going to put me in a compromising position for the next day. That is what I mean by the discipline of embodying it as a lifestyle. So the difference between a smoker and a non-smoker is identity. If you tell yourself you're a smoker, you're going to keep smoking. Like, yeah, I'm a smoker, but I'm trying to stop. You just told yourself you're a smoker. You just embodied the identity of a smoker. How are you going to stop? It's who you are. Now, as soon as you tell yourself, I'm not a smoker, somebody's like, yo, bro, what happened? Like last week you were smoking with me. I'm like, yeah, I was smoking, but I'm not a smoker. That was just something I did. That's not who I am. So for bad habits, don't embody it as an element of your identity. All right. You're not just It's genetic, right? I'm fat, it's genetic. Don't do that to yourself. Do not embody an identity that's not productive for you. Oh, I'm just a shit trader. Oh, I'm just bad at math. The fuck? If you just tell yourself you're a shit trader, how much work are you really going to put in to be better? Probably not that much. You're just going to sit there and tell yourself, what's the point anyways? I'm just a shit trader. That's what your body's going to tell you. I tell myself so many productive things in a day that just help me just break through barriers. Guys, I do the impossible behind the scenes. You guys have seen it with the FX Summit. I'm here right now on a stream. We're hanging out. You guys haven't even noticed. My shirt is backwards or it's inside out. You guys didn't even notice that. We're going to be on here doing all this. In a year from now, the FX Summit is going to be one of the biggest events in the financial service space that's ever been held. Not just the biggest space in Forex or the biggest space of the biggest event of the year, the biggest financial services event that's ever been held. How are we going to bring Binance? How are we going to bring TradingView as the sponsors? How are we going to bring the biggest companies in the world to come and support this event? That's the impossible. Now, if I told myself, like, bro, who am I to do this and who am I to do? If I start telling myself that shit and I actually believed it, how much work am I about to get done today? Zero. None. What the fuck would be the point? I suck anyways. People love to shit on Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson told everybody in that book, in his book, 12 Rules of Life, he said, clean your room. And everybody's talking shit. You had that fucking bald OnlyFans manager, fucking pussy, trying to shit on Jordan Peterson, saying you can't. Well, how is cleaning your room going to get you rich, buddy? If you every time you look around your personal space, the first thing that goes through your mind is, "Damn, I'm a slob," or "Damn, I can't even clean up my room. How am I going to clean up my life?" If that's the thought every single time you look around your environment, what are you feeding yourself? How are you supposed to be productive? How are you supposed to get anything done? You guys get what I'm saying here? I learned this from Jason, QB Stew. Awesome guy. Went down to Atlanta to go visit him. This is like 2 years ago. All over the wall, he has his accolades. Like, I'm not talking about the trophy. I'm talking about like a cutout or a picture of him doing the miraculous things that he did. And then he also had another part of the wall, which is all the things he was going to do. He had the Photoshop picture of him and J. Cole conversating on, just on a ledge, just kind of having a conversation. Jason became a pro football player. He got his not for the NFL, but for the fan controlled league that started down there in Atlanta. And he had a bunch of ex NFL players that he was playing against, and it was an incredible thing. He had that on the wall, Photoshop, that he was going to do that, and then he was going to take out a joint after scoring 4 or 5 touchdowns, and he was going to smoke the joint on the field and create this massive chaos. And then he had a list of a lot of these different things he was going to accomplish. I've known Jason for a few years now, and he's accomplished every fucking one of those things. And when he did it, when he smoked the joint on the field, it ended up on every ESPN, every Sports Center. Oh shit, this is my face. Yo, I forgot we shot this podcast with Alex. Don't watch that. Don't watch that. I had a broken arm during this video. I had a whole fucking arm cast. The shit was hella embarrassing. Don't watch that. Um, there's that. Oh, here it is. Daily Loud. Let me see this one. This is exactly how he envisioned it on his wall. Okay, look at this. Beyond accurate. So first off, he started over. Um, I think he started over Johnny Manziel in this game. Takes out the joint, sparks it. Destroying was the person who was responsible for taking the videos of a massive YouTuber. This thing actually ended up going viral on ESPN, on what is it called? Bleacher Report, and a bunch of those other ones. I just want to show you that the importance of having your goals clearly defined is number one. If you don't know what the fuck you're going to do with your life, what is your life going to look like in 3 months, 6 months, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? If you don't know the basics of that, that's where you got to start. But then also having a representation of that somewhere on your wall so you don't forget. I put my shit as my background screen. Some people are embarrassed to do that because they don't want people seeing it. They don't want people to like ask them, hey, what is that? Bro, ask me about my fucking phone. Ask me about my screensaver. I want you to ask. That's how sure I am that I'm on this right path. That's how sure I am I'm about to get this done because I'm putting in the work. Ask me about it. Now, if it's a private thing between you and you, have it on a wall. People talk about vision boards and whoop whoop. It works. Because you're either going to look at your life circumstance and be pissed off all day, or you're going to look at your life circumstance and then also see some inspiration about what your better future could look like. And that's going to push the ball forward for you. Y'all got me? Brand said, how did I break my arm? Yo, son. Yo, son. Nathan, you playing a dangerous game, buddy. The fucking you have to fucking trying to embarrass me on this fucking call. Do you actually know or are you just trolling? Nathan, thank you for the super chat. My boy threw in that €5, putting in some work on a Saturday. Literally just read that chapter, Atomic Habits. Nathan, Atomic Habits is one of the best books of all time. Actually, it is the best habit book of all time. Brand said AVAX is jumping. What the fuck is AVAX? Why does that sound like a toilet bowl cleaner? Am I bugging? Is that not a toilet bowl cleaner? Everything I go a little heavier, I tend to sweat more, making me get out of trades earlier than I should. Yeah, stop overthinking, bro. If you guys need permission to stop overthinking, this is it. Like everybody, I used to be a huge overthinker. Guys, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to sound like you know, I used to be the biggest overthinker. Every time I'd be like, damn, but what if they do this and what if they do that? I immigrated to America for fuck's sake. Any immigrant here understands what that's like if you have strict parents, right? Ain't nobody trying to get sent back. Don't fuck this up, kid. Right? This is the theme of an immigrant kid's lifestyle when you're growing up. Is do not fuck this up. Don't go make a fool out of anybody. Don't go doing degenerate activities. Don't go getting in trouble. And definitely don't go just bringing unnecessary attention to yourself and doing all this shit. So a lot of people have that sort of overthinking mindset, either from childhood or just through their own experiences of failure. You fail a bunch of times, now you're kind of hesitant. Ask for forgiveness, don't ask for permission. That's how I live. And I don't do that in a malicious way. I'm not talking about go rob a store and be like, oh, I'm sorry. No, that's not the fuck I'm talking about. I mean, people are waiting for permission to go be their best self. They're waiting for someone to come tell them, yo, bro, you got a lot of potential, man. You should really start taking this more serious. Like, oh, you think so? And I was one of them. I'm human. But after that first experience, I started to think to myself, why the fuck would I ever wait for somebody else to tell me what I already know? I promised myself I would never wait for somebody else to tell me the things that I knew to be true again. You guys want to know why? Because no one's fucking coming for you. And as soon as you realize that, it should be the most freeing experience of your life. If no one's coming for you, then that means nobody gives a fuck. And if nobody gives a fuck, then why do you care if you fail? I learned this from Alex Hormozy. Alex Hormozy said that if you were to fail in private and no one ever found out, ever, would you really care as much as you do right now? The answer is no. I'm afraid about the scrutiny of failure more than I am about failure itself. I'll take failure head on. Failure is scared of me. You guys know they say, oh, be careful out there, be careful out there. I'm what they're talking about. Failure wakes up in the morning and it's like, oh shit, not him again. No. Bro, one day I drag failure into the deep end with me every fucking day. All right. So you cannot overthink. You can't create this massive distraction or illusion in your mind about why you shouldn't do something. And the reason why most people still do this as a comfortable habit is to avoid taking full responsibility for taking that big step, for taking that big risk. Let me create a rationale for why it makes sense that I'm not doing this. Stop making excuses for why you're not doing it, because those excuses will sound good. We have the ability to rationalize anything, right? Even if you're not religious, try this prayer. I'm telling you, it works. Sit at the edge of your seat, sit at the edge of your bed, sit somewhere quiet, and ask God, what am I doing right now that is stopping me from my success? God, what am I doing right now? What am I doing for the past year that is stopping me from getting to where I want to be? And then pray for the strength to stop doing that shit. And then instead of trying to stop, because I know that's what some of you guys are like, oh man, I've been trying to stop. That's why you're not doing it, because you're trying to stop. You guys want to know how to stop a bad habit? You stop the fucking habit. Well, I'm trying to stop quitting. I'm trying to quit cigarettes. Yeah, no wonder you're still fucking smoking. You're trying. Put the fucking cigarette down. That's how you quit smoking. You guys get me? Oh, I'm trying to be a more disciplined trader. You're either going to follow the rule next week on Monday or you're not. And if you're that fucking bad at following your own rules, if you're that bad at telling yourself you're going to do something and doing it, you have all weekend to prepare for Monday. You don't go out, you don't watch movies, you work on yourself. How can I prepare myself to become the person that on Monday I'm so sure that I will not make those mistakes? Some people are just reckless and they don't take accountability for changing those bad habits. The weekend comes along, instead of using it as a time to work on those bad habits, they use it as a, bro, I've been working all week. I'm tired, man. I've been working all week, bro. I'm tired. How are you tired and broke? How are you broke and you don't have unlimited energy to get out of that situation? People have been broke. Every fucking day I'd wake up with a fucking heart attack and anxiety. You cannot accept your circumstance as it is. Fix it. Roy, at what age did you start reading the Bible? Well, I have my father to thank for that. My dad's actually in the chat. He took us to church as often as we could when we were kids. In Lebanon, it's a very close knit community culture, and churches are kind of like, you know how in America you see a McDonald's, you know that you're in a town. You know, like, oh, that's a McDonald's. Okay, we're near civilization. In Lebanon, we do that with churches. You guys know churches, community, right? Fast food, the biggest killer of Americans on every fucking block. That's the religion here. Okay. Side note, we're not going to go into that. When I was a kid, my father would take us to church as often as possible. We were involved in the church. My father was involved in the church when he was young and throughout his entire adulthood. My uncle's also involved in the church. And so I've been there for about as long as I can remember. Now, in the traditional sense of going to the church, I don't go to the church as often as I used to. I still read that Bible. Actually, I read the Bible more now than I did when I was at church because maybe I'm supplementing for not going. But my relationship with God has never been stronger, and it's helped me in my trading. A lot of people want to avoid this entire conversation, but there's four things required for you to be a good trader. Everyone thinks that it's the basics, right? A positive expectancy system, a risk management strategy, and discipline. And that's true. You do need those things. Those are non-negotiable. But you also need mental health, physical health, spiritual health, and financial security, right? Some guys on his last 200 bucks, you're not going to make good decisions because you need this trade to work. You can't ever need the trade to work because what if it doesn't? You know, sit here and like, I needed this to work. I needed this to work. You can't do that. Now, mental health. You're stressed out. You're just completely just off your game. You can't trade. Physical health. Bro, I get off work and I'm just so tired. I'm yawning. I just can't even think. Okay, what'd you eat? What'd you eat all day? Let me see this shit. Okay, you got to sit home. What are you going to do right before you go to sleep? Oh, 2 beers? Okay, let me see what you're having for dinner. With the cheese enchilada? So you're watching TV until your eyes close. You got the cheese enchilada. You got the 2 beers, and you're telling me that you don't know why you're tired all day? You show up to all day, you're eating the same shit during the day at work, whatever, whatever. It's like, oh, bro, I just can't do it. And you're broke. Fuck, man. So, hopefully that answered the Bible question. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a very, very fun call for me to do because we started off with volume and sessions. We went all the way to building a consistent positive expectancy system so that you can scale your progress. And then we just touched on a few mindset tips as well as thinking long term, having confidence, not overthinking, and really believing in your own ability as a trader. If you guys enjoyed this, leave a thumbs up before we head out. And of course, I want all of you guys to learn my strategy because at some point I will stop teaching and I may stop streaming when we're doing the world tour. So if you don't know my strategy, you're going to be trying to trade NASDAQ and it's going to be right back to the same results. Learn the system. And that way, by the time that I'm ready to head off the public face, to really go off on this world tour, and I'll still be teaching my strategy on tour when I go around. But don't like I want you guys to have enough time to practice the strategy so that by the time I'm ready to go, you guys are making the money. It's not like you're going to take the course and the next day you start making money. Some of you guys do, right? And I love to see it. But I also don't want to set that expectation either because it might take you 30 days, 60 days to practice enough to feel confident in yourself. And so the sooner you start, the better off that you will be. This is going to be a great way for you guys to use that holiday season to really prepare for 2024. 2024, we're doing the masterclass in February. Right now, they're half off. You guys can use promo code ChartAddicts for half off the masterclass in February. That code is valid until Christmas. So, chartaddictsfx.com/live class. Would love to see you there. Every morning, New York session, 9:30 Eastern time. I'll see you guys here for live trading, as well as covering some of the Forex news that's going to be dropping in the next 2 weeks. Everybody, happy and safe trading. Tell somebody that you love them and enjoy the rest of your Saturdays. Take it easy. Peace.